What's going on, ladies and gents? Welcome back to the channel. I'm Lonnie from Flightsim Gaming. Today we are taking another look at the Flightsim Studios E-Jet series aircraft. We are in the E175 with the KLM livery. Yes, KLM Amsterdam by Flight Tampa is now available. The long-awaited Amsterdam airport. There was a, I guess, a handcrafted Asobo airport, but just did not do justice. So, but anyway, we're here. We're on the ground in Southampton. Real-world flight flown by KLM. Got the call sign up top. It's KLM 916. This flight's about 45 minutes or so. And this aircraft just recently had an update. Version 0.9.18. It's the newest version. Not too many features added to it. I believe it was just maybe one or two features added. A lot of bugs that were resolved and fixed. One of the main features that were added was there is a new flex temp calculation, or a flex calculation for different flap settings on departure. So we'll have a look at that. As well as one of my viewers told me you do not need to manually add in the fuel and weight from the Microsoft tab. You could do it strictly through this aircraft. So I'm curious to try that and see how that works. So anyway, I did mention we were going to be in the 737, and yes, we will. I've already done flights with it. We will be in Australia with it. We're going to do probably 3 or 4 flights with it. We are going to get back in that aircraft, but because there was an update here, and for the most part, the majority of my viewers view this aircraft, so I want to just throw this one out quickly just to see what it's all about. I'm getting a lot of requests for me to fly this aircraft, so I guess a lot of people are skeptical about it. One thing I wanted to do, I haven't done a giveaway in a little bit. I do want to give away this aircraft. If you guys feel like this is something you guys are interested in, let me know down in the comments. If I'm doing the giveaway for this aircraft, it will be on Sim Market, so I don't think it'll be available to Xbox users. So we might go ahead and do that. Let me know if you are interested in that. And anyway, let's jump inside the cockpit. Let's get things all powered up. Aircraft is actually already powered up. And I have the GPU connected here with the doors. First thing we're going to do, we'll come over to fit details. And let's configure the aircraft as per the sim brief information. So we have Southampton International, the Sheeple, or Sheep, I don't know how to pronounce that. That's Amsterdam, KLM 916, rear-wheel flight. We've already checked that off and checked that off. Come over to the departure tab here. Here's our fuel. Here's our pax weight and our cargo weight. We are expecting runway 2, and conditions are dry. We're going to do a flaps. I'll show you how this new flex temp thing works. Dry flaps 4. Go ahead, calculate that. And to add the fuel, either do real time or instant. I'm going to go ahead and load that. We got a block fuel 2906. We'll make sure that it matches there, and it does. Fantastic. Come over to the manifest tab. The new manifest calculation is here. So you have your flaps 2 config and your flaps 4 config with the different V speeds here. It's short runway here. We're going to go flaps 4. We'll show you how that all looks once we get the aircraft all situated. Let's get rid of that yoke here. Let's come down to the radio tab here. We'll go ahead and plug in some numbers. Don't know what runway we're landing at. I believe we are expecting runway 6 in Amsterdam. We'll leave that for now. And we'll put that to the end once we get closer to the air. Okay. A lot of people ask, how do you import the SimBrief flight plan? Come over to the route tab here. Route. Your destination airport you have to put in yourself, EHAM, as well as your flight ID, KLM 916. Once you've done that, you can go ahead and send off your flight plan. You get a message prompt here, flight plan received. Request it, apply the active flight plan, give it about 10 seconds. And flight plan has been received. Perfect. You still have to put in your departure and your arrival. We'll go ahead and put in our departure, runway 2. There is no SID showing up. Runway 2, we're just going to go fly runway heading on out. We'll go ahead and apply that. I'll plug in the arrival. Runway 6 ILS on the Sugol transition. I'm not sure the arrival that we got. The Redfo 1 Alpha. Can't click that. Plug that in and apply. We'll have a look at the flight plan. Everything should look pretty standard. Perfect. We'll come over to the Init tab here. Takeoff, so TO, and landing fuel. I'm not sure if I'm saying that correctly. From what I'm told, you got to put in your taxi fuel /200. Taxi fuel 163 kg. We'll plug that in there. Come over to the next page here. We are going up to 31,000 feet. The average wind's 315 at 56. Zero fuel weight, and all this information you can get here as well for those wondering. Zero fuel weight, 29,818. And then if you come over to your fit detail, you have your cruise alt over here. So here's your cruise alt. Here's your route. See, there's our arrival into Amsterdam. Block time of 1 hour 15 minutes, 67 people on board. Anyway, zero fuel weight, 29,818, so we're relatively heavy. We'll put that in there. Fantastic. CG, we just want to match CG, 18.9, 18.9, 18.7. Perfect. Now, we're not done configuring the aircraft yet. We're not ready for pushback. We'll continue to fill in this information here. I'm going to come over to the climb phase here. Transition is 6,000 in the UK. And if we go over to the landing or the descent page here, transition is 3,000 in Amsterdam. Make sure we get those values in first and foremost. Then we'll come over to the takeoff tab here. Runway heading, I believe, is 019. I'm going to pull up my charts quickly just to verify. Yes, 019. Dry. The winds here in Southampton, 340 at 6. Plug that in there. Bam. Takeoff in a tab here. So we'll hit this button. We're going to go flaps 4. Takeoff temp is 11 degrees. Mode flex, takeoff temp 30 degrees. We'll have it on. We'll derate 13,000. We'll turn these guys on. Flex temp 30, good. Enter. And then we go back. Takeoff tab here. We'll put our V speeds in. We have, for the flaps 4 config, 114, 116, 143. 114, 116, 143. And then 188 there with a trim of 3.5. Come over here, 3.5 on the trim, plugged in. Now it is perfect. 3.5 is all set. Takeoff pitch 12 degrees. And everything looks good there. Don't really have to worry about anything else. The approach speeds. This just tells you basically your approach speeds for when you introduce flaps. And the landing tab, obviously landing in it will fill out once we get out there. We don't know yet, so we'll just leave that as is. And that's really about it. We'll continue on here. We'll set up everything else. Auto brake is RTO. We have the barrel pressure is set, or altimeter is set 1026, 1026. This aircraft automatically sets that. Not sure why, but anyway. Heading of 019, then we'll click flight director, auto throttle, and we'll click this guy. We'll go rev at 31,000 feet. Since it's such a short flight, we don't have to worry about anything else. And if we come over here, we'll come over to our electrical panel here. We'll wait for our APU. So we're going to start up our APU. You can hear that APU in the background. A lot of sounds that were updated with this update build here. 0.9.18. I know they fixed the GPU sounds. There we go. APU is online, so we can come up top here, and GPU will disconnect. A lot of sounds fixed with this aircraft. You know, I don't know what they're making priority with it, but in my opinion, a lot of the flight systems need to be fixed. Anyway, let's go ahead and request pushback here. No need for anti-ice fuel. We'll make sure we have our fuel in there. Nothing to the engines yet. We are on AC power. Once we start the engine, that'll all change. But yes, this airport, Southampton, done by any builds. It's also a new airport as well. I did want to do a flight with this aircraft quickly. Like I said, a lot of people want to see what it's all about, and I thought it was appropriate to do a KLM OPS flight just because we haven't done one yet, and they have a lot of E175s out there, so should be a fun flight. Nothing else I need to worry about down here. We're gonna go nose right, tail left. Parking brakes released.
All engines clear. Start at will.
Start up engine number 2.
Please set parking brakes.
This to ground. We have a good engine start. You can disconnect.
Unlocking gear.
Engine number 1 starting up. Hydraulic 1 low pressure. That's normal. That light will clear by itself. There we go. Wait for N1 to rise. Two good engines, fantastic. We have APU coming off.
Tow truck disconnect.
And everything else looks good up here. Taxi lights will come on.
Left is clear, right is clear.
And we are doing a flaps 4 departure. I don't think there's any flap sounds, but you will see them move. Little slow there on the animation. There we have it. Fantastic. All is well. Have a good trip. Now, flight controls here. We'll make sure everything's working. Elevator's working. Fantastic. Perfect. All is well. No checklists for this. Here's our gross weight here. And we got to make sure fuel looks okay. And then we'll come over to our maps. Park and brake off. Then you can hit takeoff config.
Takeoff okay.
Takeoff okay. I already got my taxi lights on. We are good to go. Let me pull up Navigraph, show you what we're doing. So, Southampton, we'll come over to the charts tab here. Standard instrument departure. Here's our departure, okay? So, runway 2, climb straight ahead until 2.5 miles from the SAM VOR. That's basically it. Runway heading and transalp of 6,000 feet. So, if I click this, it should show us on the maps here. Show you our taxi routing. We're departing off of runway 2. We're going to go ahead, taxi apron. We're going to go, I guess, Alpha 3, Alpha 4. We'll turn right onto Bravo, hold short. And then we're going to make a right and backtrack runway 02 for departure. And that's basically it. And I don't think I said the weather information. I'll quickly do that. The winds are 340 at 6. Temperature 12 degrees. Altimeter 1026. And that's basically all she wrote. Let's get going. By the way, we are departing from the gate where the aircraft last departed from. We are doing a gate-to-gate ops once again. I believe in Amsterdam, we are expecting gate Alpha 72. I'll double check that once we get out there. So hopefully the winds don't kick our ass on departure here. It always seems to be a problem for me with this aircraft. It is so light, you know, so light. I just want to say I have a track IR system coming, which will make it easier for me when I'm taxiing around and stuff like that. I can actually move the head so I can see out the windows rather than use my mouse. It's kind of a pain in the ass. Alright, we're going to go ahead, make a right onto Bravo. Landing lights, strobe lights can come on. Performance is amazing at this air. I know any builds with some of their other bigger airports, this was a main focus. JFK and LA had performance problems. I have to say, we're getting about 56 FPS. I know it's a small airport. It's not a super big one. But, you know, it's fantastic that they're trying to work on that. Performance is such a big problem in the simulator. You know, with everything kind of congested into one big community folder, things can cause problems for sure. Now, I just want to reiterate on takeoff. We're going to go ahead. Throttles up to 40%. People were asking me about a toga button. As well as I believe Flightsim Studios animated a toga button into the aircraft on this update. I don't know where it is. I don't know how to find that. But basically, in the real world aircraft, throttles up to 40%. Stabilize, and then move the thrust levers up to 60%. where auto throttle should automatically kick in. So no need for a toga button in this aircraft. Let the auto throttle do its thing. We're going to go ahead and spin around here. And what I'm going to do is we'll get centered, and then we're going to go heading mode on this departure. I realize even though the lights don't light up, you can click them on departure, and it should go into that mode rather than nav mode. I'm not. We're not flying. We're not flying an RNAV departure here, so we're just going to go switch it into heading mode. And do it just like that. So we'll go ahead, get ourselves nice and straight. There we go. Brakes are very twitchy. I'm not sure why. Okay, we're going to go ahead. We'll click this heading switch. Nothing comes up, but heading mode should light up. And we are runway heading 019, and we're going to follow that on this departure. All right, let's get going. Throttle's up 40%. And then we'll move them up 60%, and auto throttle seat kicks in. Thrust set, don't worry about that message. Check. E1 and rotate. Positive rate of climb. Gear going up. And we're going to go ahead. Flight level change. Heading mode did not stay in. We'll go ahead and select it again. And we're going to go ahead flaps 2. And we'll pitch for climb. A little gusty up here. We'll go ahead, bug up. 210. And we'll go flaps 1. And we're going to go heading 047. And we'll start that right turn. And we'll go ahead flaps up. And throw it in autopilot. Autopilot will do its thing. It's going to pitch up. And we can actually speed up 250. And we'll go direct Cobby. Beautiful departure. 6,000 feet is passed. We're going to go ahead. Standard pressure is set. Let's turn off our nose lights here. And we'll enjoy the rest of this departure. Beautiful day here. Out in the UK. So I know I did say if you click the heading button, it should track heading on departure. It went right to nav. I don't know. Maybe I got to click it a couple times. I've had it work in the past. We are expecting bugs with this aircraft. It's okay. Not a big deal. Let's focus on the aircraft. Coming up on 9,000 feet. We are still tracking our heading. We are in nav mode. And we are tracking the nav beautifully. Landing lights can come off. And we're going to go ahead. We'll bug up 290. Continue to look at these beautiful views. Definitely has different engine sounds. You can hear the buzzsaw comparative to the last update. Aircraft still flies very nicely. The flight model is really good with the aircraft. I always have an issue with the lighter aircrafts, you know, GA aircrafts or even the regional jets with the rudder authority. I feel like to me it feels super unrealistic sometimes, especially when it's very windy outside. It's kind of weird. This aircraft, when you try to correct for the wind on takeoff, the aircraft doesn't, generally what you do is when you're flying into the wind or when there's a crosswind, you fly into the wind on takeoff. That means ailerons to whatever side the wind's blowing on, and then that should kind of help stabilize the aircraft on rotation. This aircraft doesn't really do that properly. I don't know if that's a flaw with the flight model. You'll notice the minute you start lifting off, the aircraft wants to dip rather than sort of hold itself straight. So, but anyway, still a work in progress. It is, like I said, an aircraft that is fully much not in the high fidelity stages. I don't know if it'll ever get there. They were supposed to release the E190 and E195 jets this month. Now we have been told that they will be released end of November or early December, and I'm definitely getting that. I have to get that aircraft. That'll be some pretty fun aircraft to fly. I'm pretty sure everything's pretty much the same, other than just everything's just bigger with it. But yeah, we are expecting an E190, E195 coming to the simulator by Flightsim Studios in the next, I would say, 60 days or so. Still waiting on the PMDG 777 and the Aerosoft A330. At this point with the Aerosoft A330, I'm kind of just like whatever about it. I don't know if I'm going to buy it, just because everything's taken so long and the hype is just, you know, in my opinion, greater than it actually lived up to be. The Headwind A330 flies pretty nice for a freeware aircraft. I'm happy with that. So, but anyway, enough ranting around. Let's get the aircraft up to 31,000 feet. We're just passing 20,000 right now, and I'll catch y'all on the descent into Amsterdam, ladies and gents. Smash down that thumbs up button if you're enjoying the content. Subscribe if you have not, and I'll catch y'all in a bit. Peace. What's going on, ladies and gents? Welcome back to the video. As you can see, we're only in the air for 21 minutes. It is a short flight. We are now starting our descent. We have reached what I believe is top of descent, based off of some of the practice flights I had done. I know we were expecting runway 06 for the approach, but now it has changed. The aircraft are now landing on 36 right. That's what we're going to be landing on. I'll open up Navigraph here, show you what is happening. This is our arrival coming into Amsterdam. We're on the Redfa 1 Alpha arrival. Redfa, we got to be below 23,000 feet, which I don't think we're going to pass that. It's fine. Most importantly, we need to be between 10 and 7,000 feet at 250 for Sugol. And then here's the approach coming into Amsterdam. Okay, so runway, it's the ILS or local runway 36 right. And we're going to come from Sugol. We're going to go 31 miles, fly over top of the Amsterdam VOR. We have to be at max 220 knots for 7,000 feet. That's where we have to be crossing over that VOR. So we're descending down to 7,000 feet. I have it set up in the aircraft there, and then we're going to fly these waypoints down to the runway. Minimums here I got set for 198, which I can only put 200 because of increments of 10. But I don't think... Oh, and this is our nav frequency, 111.95. We'll verify that all that's kind of plugged in. I don't think the real-world aircraft would fly this approach like this. I don't think they're flying over top of the VOR. I mean, over top of the airport. I believe they would kind of vector themselves probably to Nuco. You don't want to be out here. You don't want to be north of the runway just because you have departing aircraft taking off. So I think we'll go from... It typically would go from Sugol down to Nelco. Now, I got the aircraft doing some weird things right now. Actually, no, the aircraft is flying the route. I do want to say, on my practice flights, this aircraft wasn't flying the route correctly once we hit Sulit. So we'll see what it does once we get there. Minimum's 200 set. Can't set 198. We'll come over to the landing init tab. I'm going to keep it on. I'm going to keep tracking a heading just because on the approach... Sorry, just because of my practice flight, which I think the aircraft is... Got to kind of watch how this aircraft flies. Every waypoint on this flight, every waypoint that I've passed, the aircraft would start to rotate the opposite direction. I don't know if that's because of the heavy winds. But anyway, we'll come over to the landing init page here. Let's fill this out quickly. Runway heading, final approach course is 002. Landing temp, so I will look at the weather information. We'll read it out. The winds are 320 at 13. Visibility is 10,000 meters or greater. Few clouds at 2,500. Scattered at 3,300. Light showers of rain. Temperature 10 degrees. Altimeter 1022. We're going to go 10 degrees on here. So I want to fill this out quick. We are doing a flaps 5 landing. The winds right now 320 at 13. And we'll make sure V-speeds are there with a flaps 5 landing. So as I was saying, this aircraft on my practice flights, once I was maybe about 15 miles out from Sulit, the aircraft would fall off of its navigation and start doing circles. And I believe in the charts there is a hold for Sulit, but that shouldn't make a difference. It should not put a hold in... Sorry, not at Sulit, that's Sugol. So just after Sulit, just before we hit Sugol, was where I was developing my issues on my practice flight. But we'll see what happens. We are to expect bugs with the aircraft. A couple other things you can't do with the aircraft. There's no direct to on any of the waypoints. Can't go direct to for any of these waypoints, unfortunately. That's why this aircraft is not really fit for VATSIM. Everything has to be vectored via heading track if you want to do anything crazy with that. We've set up the... By the way, I have the custom ILS enabled. Let's get that back. To enable their custom ILS, you got to go settings, aircraft, enable it. It's definitely weird in my opinion. It does some weird things. You'll see as we get there. But yeah, this aircraft will get you from point A to point B. Make sure my nav frequency 111.95. Perfect. It will get you from point A to point B, but still a lot of bugs and issues that I feel like need to be sort of resolved. Definitely before they release the 190s and the 195s. Definitely have these systems working seamlessly. Now, if this aircraft continues to do its weird shit at Sugol, then obviously there's a problem either with the waypoint into the in the McDo or with the aircraft itself. I didn't have any major problems in the approach mode or the approach part of the flight in the previous build, but we'll see what happens. Also, I don't know what to expect on this approach, as my practice flights were for the opposite runway, for runway 18. I don't know what these waypoints are going to look like once we get out there. When I was landing on 18 right on this approach, I had to vector myself just because the waypoints weren't really, the aircraft wasn't following the waypoints correctly. But anyway, we'll sit back, we'll enjoy, have a look at some of these wing views as we fly over top of the ocean here. You can see parts of mainland Europe out there. Don't forget, ladies and gents, if you're enjoying the content, smash down that thumbs up button. Subscribe to my channel if you have not. We are at about 729 subs on the channel as of the recording of this video. We are almost at 1,000. I know lately I haven't been putting out content as often as I would like to. But sometimes, you know, life just kind of gets in the way. So I do apologize for that. And I'll start slowing the aircraft down 250 knots. Sugal, we got to be between 10 and 7,000. Hopefully we'll be okay. And then once we fly over top of the Amsterdam VOR, it's max 220 at 7,000 feet. Make sure I have my charts up here. We're going to be going on a heading of 076. Make sure I plug that in. And we'll see what the aircraft does. We're missing the track there. The little purple track. I think that might be the problem. We'll see. So far, it's flying it. See, it completely missed the waypoint. Sugal. AM 160 is where it wants to fly. What I'm going to quickly do here is I'm quickly going to put in our arrival. Again, 36 right, ILS, Sugal, Redfo 1 Alpha. We'll apply that. And that seems to fix the flight plan. See, we lost some waypoints there. I knew it was going to happen. Yeah. It's kind of what's happening. I don't know if it's a waypoint problem or if it's the flight plan. I'm not sure. I had to also redo the arrival in my practice flights as well. And I'll make sure there is no duplicate waypoints. No, there's not. Perfect. .250 at Sugal in 10 and 7,000 feet. And you'll see once we get past Sugal, we'll have a look at the waypoints here. Everything is kind of just broken. It's this weird teardrop waypoint stuff. I don't know. We'll have to go in heading mode and fly it. We're going to go 1,000 feet per minute, passing 10,000. There goes our landing lights. We're going to track on a heading of 111. And there goes the aircraft doing its thing again. Invalid action. Yeah. Looks like navigation has kicked back in. Let's see if it'll fly it. Something has changed with this aircraft since it was updated. I don't remember having the aircraft having any problems flying the arrival. Pretty disappointing. It could be just this arrival is broken with the aircraft. I don't know. I haven't flown any other flights with it. But I wanted to show you guys in sort of in the raw form what it's doing. I know a lot of people were expecting a pretty decent release. So yeah, this is it in its raw form. No editing. It's not flying the flight plans correctly. Just waiting for the navigation to kick back in. And we should start turning right. I'm hoping. There we go. Now we're flying about 30 miles to the Amsterdam VOR. And this looks as messy as I anticipated it to look. The problem I was having flying the 1.8 approach, basically similar waypoints. Similar, I guess you could say, I guess, arrival, despite going the other way. You flew over top of the Amsterdam VOR, and then it would bank left and do a sort of a teardrop arrival. The problem that I was having was the waypoint, so it wouldn't hit the first, it would hit the first waypoint, it wouldn't hit the second waypoint, it would just cut across over to, I guess, the final, if that makes any sense. We'll see what happens. Anyway, based off of the charts, we have to be 220 at 7,000. We'll continue to fly 250 for now. 3,000 feet is our transition altitude. Some windmills in the ocean there. I don't know if that's real. Probably, right? Maybe not. I don't know. We'll get her down 220. I'm probably just going to go in a heading mode. Once we fly over top of the VOR, we got to go 137 on the heading. I'm just going to go ahead and set that, because I have a feeling we're going to have to go into heading mode. 7,000 feet, check and check. We need to capture the glide slope 2,000 feet. So I'll go ahead and we'll I'll set 2,000 once we pass the Amsterdam VOR. You can see the airport out in front of us. Massive, massive airport. When I landed on the on 18 right, I think taxiing back to my gate was like 25 minutes or so. Yeah, I just don't think we're going to fly these waypoints. We'll see. I'll keep it in for now. But I'm not going to, you know, hold my breath. And beautiful airport out here. Fly Tampa's Amsterdam is one of a kind. That's for sure. All their airports are. Got to keep an eye on this. I'm going to get the speed down to 210. There's 18 right. Terminal that I had to go to was like out here somewhere. So you can see it's a long taxi down here, through here, all the way past here, hop over the runway. Crazy. Like I said, I don't think they do this in real life. I don't think they're flying over top of the airport like this. They might be. I would have just vectored myself around here onto the runway, but this aircraft is not capable of doing them things. I'll start descending down 2,000 feet. We'll go at 1,000 feet per minute. All right, looks like we're flying the approach pretty decently. Let's have a look outside. There's that beautiful airport. Keep the speed up. Don't need to put in any flaps yet. It is a flaps 5 landing. We'll go with 700 feet per minute. We'll keep it at 1,000 feet per minute. See what happens. 2,000 feet we need to be at by, I think it's Alpha Mike 636. Alpha Mike 636. I'd like to show some wing views, but I have to just focus on this because I know we're going to have issues. .182. We'll go ahead, flaps 1. Speed 190. That's what I knew it was going to do. Heading mode. Heading 182. I knew it was going to do that. You see how it skipped 3 waypoints there? Basically, it wouldn't follow this path. It would go direct. And we would be sort of on a weird angle for the approach. So we'll vector ourselves. That's fine. I'm not worried. Keep the speed 190. Just double check our charts if we have any speed restraints. No, just max 220 at Nuco by AM 635, Alpha Mike 635. We need to maintain 160. There's our glide slope there. Go down to about 500 feet per minute. Then we're going to go on a heading of 312 in a second to capture the localizer. And there's 3,000 feet. 1022. Plug that in. And we're going to go heading 312. We'll go VL. And we'll go speed check. Flaps 2. 180 on the speed. I will do 170. Coming up on 2,000 feet, we're going to go ahead and hit the approach mode. And we'll let the aircraft do its own thing. You're going to see how out of shape the custom ILS is. It's pretty weird in my opinion. Final course 002.
2,500.
So we need to maintain 160 by Alpha Mike 635. Localizer should be coming in. It's gonna swing us right over. Waiting for localizer. There we go. We'll flaps 3. We'll go 160. Localizer coming in now. We've overshot it as usual. we're going to go heading 002, if it will let me. Minimums, climb on track 002 to Alpha Mike 637 to 1500 at Alpha Mike 637. Continue to Alpha Mike 163, climbing 2000, form ATC immediately. So 2000 set, glide slope coming in. And this is this custom ILS. We're going to go ahead, gear down. Turn the rest of our lights on. Alpha Mike 635, we got to maintain 160. See how unstable it is? I would probably say to use just a default. Flaps 4. It's just a default ILS system they have built. Just because I feel like it works nicer. Landing, final approach 135. And 5 miles out. Aircraft still doing some weird shit. Flaps 5. 135 is set. So as you can see, there is the Flightsim Studios custom ILS approach. You guys be the judge of that. But anyways, we got gear down, free green, flaps 5 set. Coming down on a glide slope. Happies and glide, I think, are pretty good for this airport. We have our auto brake set to low. And, yeah. 1,000 check. I'll go ahead and take the aircraft. My throttles. And I will fly it down. Hopefully give you guys something decent. Gonna maintain the speed. The wind. Showing us high up. Let's get her back. Three whites, one red. Let's get her back down. 2 whites, 2 red.
200 minimums.
Continue. Goes down gently. Reversers out. Felt firm. Felt really firm. 70 knots. Reverser stowed. Ladies and gents, welcome down to Amsterdam for the first time. I haven't flown here in the simulator. I just didn't want to take a gamble with the Asobo handcrafted airport. But anyway, we're here. We'll vacate off here. Over to GSX Alpha 72. That's where we're going. Don't need to show me. And KLM Royal Dutch. So we'll vacate here. We're going to make a left onto Bravo. taxi routing will be Bravo. Then we're gonna go to... Actually, we'll vacate here and go all the way to Alpha, and then we're gonna make a left on Alpha, take Alpha all the way to Alpha 2, and our gates will be off over there. Decent performance, typical Flightsim performance, 35 FPS, no VATSIM. No VATSIM, so we do have some static traffic there. I'm not sure if that's done by Fly Tampa. So get my not my Tobii tracker, my Track IR. We can pan around and look at stuff. Come up top here. Landing lights can come off. Not going to spool up the APU yet. Not needed. But it is a very nice airport, as usual, by Fly Tampa. Took them a little while. But yeah, landing felt firm. We got 50 minutes here on block time. That's pretty standard. And this aircraft does taxi pretty much on its own. Got to be on the brakes. Brakes feel very, very twitchy. We're going to go ahead and we're going to hang it right. And we'll continue down Alpha. All the way to Alpha 2. Go ahead, spool up that APU. I don't know, maybe we'll do some retro KLM ops. We'll fly in the KLM 747 and go to Saint Martin. That could be fun. I do want to note, I'll show you on the charts momentarily, on my practice flight, I had some bugs with the scenery. Taxiing over top of Quebec, I believe, was the taxiway, and over top of a bridge. The aircraft sunk into the scenery, almost tipped over. But yeah, custom ILS, I don't know, I'm not a fan of it. Its movement is too pitchy, and it wanders. It doesn't stabilize. This here is Alpha 3. Next will be Alpha 2, and we'll go ahead and make a right on the Alpha 2. Yeah, very, very pitchy and twitchy on that approach there. I guess the best thing you could probably do is just fly a heading once you're on like a base leg or a downwind. Sorry, not a base, a downwind. Fly a heading out far enough, vector yourself onto a base, and then maybe have yourself stable on final, maybe 10 miles out. We're going to go ahead and turn here. This should be Alpha 2. We should have some people waiting for us over here. Can't see it, but I think so. Again, this is where the real-world aircraft deboarded from. I'm looking for Alpha 72. Alpha 72 is right there. Gonna start slowing the bird down. We have somebody waiting for us. Not sure why my brakes are so twitchy like that. I'll have to check that. That's definitely too twitchy in my opinion. It's stopping on a dime. And we'll just hold it right there. Aircraft is in park. We'll come up top here. We'll stop both engines. Engines are spooling down. Come over to GSX and request deboarding.
Deboarding requested.
Another question that everybody was asking me was, does GSX ask you to open up doors that you don't want to open up? Yes, they do. We get this message here because there's no profile for this aircraft. I'll just open up those doors till the beeping's gone, and then I'll just close them. And that's it, ladies and gents. And GSX is causing performance problems. We're getting 28 FPS right now. It's a little weak in my opinion. But yeah, beautiful flight coming into Amsterdam. Typical bugs with this aircraft. You know, it is what it is. Again, it's an early release, so everybody has to sort of be patient with it. But all in all, it'll get you from point A to B. Still do not recommend flying this on VATSIM. But if you're looking for something new, something that'll keep you busy, kind of like the CRJ, go ahead and purchase this. I had said at the beginning of the video I was interested in doing a giveaway for this aircraft. If you guys, you know, would like to see that happen, just let me know down in the comments. I want to do another giveaway. I fly this aircraft a lot on my channel now, and I think it would be there's a lot of people asking me, is it still worth it? Is it still worth it? I'm assuming those are the people that have not purchased the aircraft yet, but are itching to purchase it, but they're just worried about making a bad decision. So maybe we'll do that giveaway. It will be from Sim Market. That's where I'm going to purchase it from, because it's easy to gift stuff off of Sim Market than to get it right from the devs. And then you just follow the instructions to download it. It won't be for Xbox users. It will strictly be for PC users. So let me know down below if you want to see that happen. I can make it happen. And we are definitely hopping back into the 737. I know I've said that multiple times. I will not let you down. We are getting back into it. We are going to be in Australia, flying with Virgin Australia, as well as we are going to be doing some Qantas ops. We're going to a bunch of different airports in Australia. There's some great scenery out there. I forget who some of the devs are. I know Fly Tampa has Sydney. There's definitely a good Adelaide. There's a decent Perth. There is, we're going to be doing a flight from Alice Springs to Adelaide. So whoever does Adelaide, I think Adelaide and Alice Springs are done by the same devs. I could be wrong. But we're definitely going to showcase that. I can't wait. Hopefully by the time we are wrapping it up in Australia, Orbex will release Gold Coast. I know there is one for Gold Coast, but I want the Orbex scenery instead. If I want to make the if I'm planning to make the purchase, I want it to be through Orbex. So, but anyway, ladies and gents, have yourself a wonderful week. I'll catch y'all in a bit. Thanks for coming up to fly with me. Peace.